Yeah, good morning. Hey now, PASW staff, clients, and friends join us for Film Scoring Monday, when we look at a scene and I take out the score and then you think about it. Sometimes not that long, you get right back to me and you come up with a score that would work just as well. And this is our weekly exercise and we see your results on Friday. So if you're new, contact me. You can email and text. You can use my fax too. And to send me some music on YouTube or Spotify, and this is such a fun exercise. I'm really proud of your guys' ears adapting to film music. Music maybe you wouldn't have, I bet most of you guys wouldn't have listened to some of these music, but it shows me that you're using your ears to find the music to fit the scene, and that is really special and important. So I'm really proud of you guys using a different muscle in your ear. Not easy to do, so good work. Okay, so I'm trying to think. I think we talked about some westerns before, but this is one of the most famous westerns in the 1950s. Westerns, Bond loves westerns. Westerns are good because they're very simple stories sometimes, and they teach good values, or good, bad, not the ugly, but that is a western. But values of honesty, of there's integrity, there's hard work. All these kind of things are mostly, in all stories, but westerns definitely there's good and bad, and it's very satisfying when the good guy wins, and all these kind of things that I'm simplifying it, but that are very satisfying to the viewer. So they're modern morality plays, almost like Western films. I mean, they're plays where there's good moral code, there's heroes, and there's all this stuff. So we're going to take a look at one of the most famous and Academy Award-winning score. Today we're going to look at the 1952 American Western film, High Noon.
The noonday train will bring Frank Miller. If I'm a man, I must be brave, and I must face that deadly killer. Are I a coward, a craven coward? Or lie a coward in my grave? Oh, to be torn twixt love and duty, supposing I lose my fair half beauty. Look at that big hand move along, yeah, in high noon. He made a vow while in state's prison, vowed it would be my life or his, and I'm not afraid of death, but oh, what will I do if you leave me? Do not forsake me, oh my darling.
High Noon is a phrase because all the action takes place mostly in real time in the movie. It's so come noontime, this is when the big thing is going to happen. We'll talk about the plot of what's going to happen. So that's the title of it. Nominated for 7 Academy Awards and winning 4 for Best Actor, Gary Cooper, and Best Editing, Best Score, and Best Song as well. Directed by Fred Zinnemann, not Cinnabon. I think I did that same joke too, because we talked about Fred Zinnemann. We scored From Here to Eternity in 1953, so this is 1 year prior to that. And the very erotic, semi-inappropriate beach scene, remember that? And then we also talked about Oklahoma. So he directed many pictures, but those are the motion pictures that we've looked at. This one was kind of a gamble too. I mean, the budget was about $700,000, but it makes $12 million. It's a pretty good return. Let's go over to where they shot most of it. Well, a lot of it in Burbank, but let's go to, this is where they kind of filmed some of the opening scene of Iverson Ranch in the beautiful town of Chatsworth. This is the fictitious town. The story takes place in New Mexico, and maybe around the 1880s or so. So the story tells the tale of Gary Cooper, whose character's name is Will Kane, and he's a retired marshal, and he's retiring from the little town because he's married his new bride is marrying Grace Kelly, and as he's getting ready to leave, he finds out that Frank Miller has been set free, and Frank Miller's a criminal that he put away, and now everybody is saying, well, what are you going to do if he's coming back? And his wife, Grace Kelly, is the pacifist, and she's Quaker, and she says, well, let's just leave before he gets back. And so Gary Cooper says, well, that wouldn't be the right thing to do. He's going to find me anyway. So let me deal with this problem now. And he realizes that most of the townspeople don't have his back, and they're not gonna. They're scared. They're cowardly. So he has to decide: do I leave town with my bride? Do I confront Frank Miller and his gang, because he's rounded up some gang, because he's coming after Will Kane for justice? Pretty good storyline, right? So Gary Cooper's character is supposed to be about 30 years old, but he was 50 in this movie, and then Grace Kelly was 21. So, another example of the age difference, and nobody seemed to have a problem with it in the 50s. But this made her career. This was her first feature film. She'd been acting before on Broadway. But so 52. Singing in the Rain comes out in 1952. We did a whole class on Singing in the Rain, so that's a big year. And what else happens when this movie comes out? Polio epidemic's getting really, really bad. So I thought it's kind of, thank God polio is gone because of vaccinations, right? Communism, the witch hunt, is out with Joseph McCarthy, and many people see parallels to the witch hunt and blacklisting with this plot, because that's why John Wayne didn't want to do this movie, because he was very much, for the eradication of communism and all these kind of things, and so he saw this as a pro-communist story. Perhaps, but this isn't a political class. Diary of Anne Frank is first published this year. First Holiday Inn opens. Very similar, kind of story. Today program on NBC starts, and we're getting, 50s. We're getting more television, right? There's still obviously people are going to the cinema, but a lot of good TV is coming out. A lot of TV that's going to get people sucked into, their living rooms on a Saturday night. So production took about 38 days, but they spent about 2 weeks just rehearsing. So very, and you know what? It wasn't really working when they premiered this. There was something. It wasn't working, and the producer was like, well, how can we get this to start working? And it's because there wasn't the right score. And so Dmitri Tiomkin, John Pazis has used some of his music, and I didn't really know that much of his music in previous film scoring assignments, so that's kind of cool. But this very famous Russian-born composer, he looked at a preview and said, well, yeah, this isn't, you don't have the right music for it. Let me give you the right music for it. And his idea, which was really revolutionary, because now we do this all the time, people started doing this afterwards. He said, you want to open the movie with a classic Western ballad, and I'm going to write the ballad for you, and this will set the tone for the movie. And then I'll write the score, kind of using some of the ballads. So he wrote the song, and also the whole score for the mood, and it kind of makes it a little bit more hip, for the audience. A little bit, it's sometimes easier, more accessible to start with a song rather than just a classical film score, because that's great too, but sometimes that's not as captivating. So we're going to take a look at your scene. This is toward the end. This is when Frank Miller is coming for Gary Cooper. And Gary Cooper knows that he has to face him, and he's got a gang though with him. So there's a lot of great little sequences, and I just wanted to choose kind of maybe under a minute, and this is when they're first going to confront each other. So let's take a look at the scene. So this is not obviously the folk Western song that opens up, although throughout the film he does use that motif a lot, so it's, it sounds very tense. It does a great job of them marching in. I mean, this adds a lot of drama. If you don't believe me, let's take a look at the scene without any music. Still looks, I mean, you know, kind of scary and intense, but boy, that music makes so much difference. It almost makes the acting work and this facial expressions work. I always just think, you know, on set they didn't have any score or music. They're just, you know, okay, pretend like you're really mad and start walking over there. And then the actor's like, okay, I guess we'll see if it works. And then you add the score in there, and if it's a good score, it's all of a sudden it's like magic. So come up with a score that's going to be kind of intense for this little, you know, they're kind of marching toward each other, and there's going to be a shootout, and people are going to die. And, you know, of course it's a Western, so Gary Cooper ends up with Grace Kelly, and there's a beautiful crane shot at the end. So again, with Westerns, it's very satisfying because there is a happy ending, but he doesn't know that. The character doesn't know if there's going to be a happy ending. This is a tense moment of them walking toward each other, and what's going to happen. So come up with something exciting and something a little dark and dangerous sounding. I think so. Yeah, I think that'll be good work for us. And then get it to me by tomorrow. We'll see the results for Friday. It's going to be such a great week. I'm already excited. I'm sweating a little bit, but you know, that's only because I'm excited. So, okay, love you and see you tomorrow.